Every now and then, you come across a fantastic small cap stock that could potentially go up tenfold or more in the very long term. And one of those companies is Candy Partners Group in terms of potential. We don't often find these kinds of interesting stocks, and in a short analysis of just a few minutes, I'll show you why Candy Partners could be very appealing for long-term investors who are willing to take a risk. Now, very interesting, if you go to the Candy Partners website, you'll find a number of crucial information sources, and very entertaining yet informative is the owner's manual. And the owner, Brad Kelly, has actually put together a textbook owner's manual. Not only will you find an overview of the company here, but what they do can be summed up in a nutshell. They acquire a lot of accounting firms. Here we see the revenue CAGR over 15 years. It's a serial acquirer, in other words, a kind of private equity-like firm that at the very least engages in buy and hold strategies for significant accounting firms. Right now they're still small, but as they continue to grow bigger and bigger, the acquisitions will also become larger and larger. It's a flywheel. There are a number of really interesting things in the owner's manual, and they are looking for example, quality shareholders. Yes, the explanation of the strategy, the business model is very interesting, but especially that these are also accounting people themselves, so they are very good with numbers. That also makes it very difficult to value this company. The official ticker is KPG, Candy Partners Group. The current market value in my own portfolio, well, not with DeGiro, but with Interactive Brokers, I have 2 accounts. Here's my market value, 8,000. We see that the total return at the moment is 26%. I only took a position last summer in 2024. Recent figures show that the revenue has grown again by about 30% year over year. It's going really well, but the stock is very difficult to value. I don't actually have the exact answer, to be honest. I bought here because I do believe in the management, even though it might look too good to be true. It might look too polished. Brett Kelly as CEO also literally looks sharp. Maybe a bit too sharp. Time will tell. I really believe in this company. It's one of my larger positions within my Interactive Brokers account. A few things, as we can see in the fundamentals, is, for example, Morningstar. It only gives 2 stars. The fair value is therefore $8 Australian. The current price is already a bit higher at the moment. That's also a very important point. 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 They have risen again. We can see that reflected in the prices. And for example, the earnings have increased significantly. The current price earnings is not 67, but that's 170. The price earnings of 67 indicates the future forward date next year. The price earnings of 67 indicates the future forward date or next year. But what's more interesting with serial acquirers is, of course, to look at the cash flow. Cash is king, that's everything, and that's why the company is really very difficult to value. For a long time, the price to cash flow was around 10. I took a position somewhere around the summer of 2024. Actually, my price to cash flow was 15, so not even superior. Now, the price has risen a lot, so the price to cash flow has also increased very quickly. For example, EBITDA has also increased rapidly. At first, there was a price to EBITDA of around 10, and now it's already 13. And still actually relatively low compared to a lot of other share world acquirers in the USA. But Kelly Partners Group is perhaps a bit riskier because it's just a smaller player and also not in the USA, so the valuation is therefore a bit lower. When it comes to forecasting, to be honest, there's not much to say, so we'll skip that quickly. A few key statistics. The price to earnings right now is around 170. It says 135 here, but that's not correct. It's 170. As a result, the price to cash flow is a bit higher on the higher side, and the price to book ratio is very high in this database. Now, it's very important to understand that it's a small cap. The current market value is not 300 million, but around 480 million, as it has recently increased a lot. And you can also see that the reliable databases we usually use for this stock aren't even that reliable. It just has to do with the fact that this ticker is not really known. The KPG is the original ticker. Here you also see a completely different ticker. It's just a small under-the-radar company, but very interesting. And what I find particularly interesting is the application of private equity. They're accountants, so they know very well how to handle the numbers. And they try to keep the profits as low as possible, which explains why the price-to-earnings ratio is so high at the moment. Nevertheless, the EBITDA margin is above 20%, and that's really good. And not only that, but they've been doing this for 5 years in a row while also achieving impressive growth, as we've seen. Return on equity is, of course, super important for private equity firms, but return on capital could be a bit higher as well. However, that should increase over time. Kelly Partners Group has risen significantly at the moment. Yes, the current price may have risen a bit too quickly based on the latest news. I took a position here at some point, but I don't remember exactly when. We saw the total return, which was 26%. So that was somewhere in the summer of 2024, and really with the intention to hold it for the very long term. So I've taken a relatively smaller position. It was around 3 or 4% in total, and the market value has currently also risen to 8,000, so that's about 3%. We'll see, time will tell. I think Kelly Partners Group is very interesting for the long term. Maybe not so much for the short term because of the recent rapid increase, but definitely for the long term. Now, do you want more of these kinds of ideas? Check out our website, go to the Happy Investors website, check out growth stocks. We offer analysis for growth stocks with monthly growth stocks that have potential exponential returns, but also a monthly update on top growth stocks or other packages that we offer. Are you international or do you prefer it in English? That works too. Then check out businessinvestors.info roughly later. We offer exactly the same services but in English because we are also active internationally. Thank you for watching. Let us know what you think of Kelly Partners Group. Definitely check out the owner's manual because it's super educational as an investor and it's worth investing your time in.